Welcome to another episode of the State of the Bulldogs. We have Grant and Mike tonight. It is the eve week of football. It's the 19th, a Monday, not a Sunday. But football is right around the corner. We're going to talk about Samford's defense tonight, kind of run through who is returning and who is new, and hopefully who will be making some impacts, and touch a little bit on what we might think Braithwaite's defense is going to look like. But first, Grant, Mike, how are we?
Sam, I thought we were going to break down week 0 of college football. I didn't know we were doing Samford stuff. We got Florida State, Georgia Tech on Saturday. We got SMU, Nevada. It's a big week 0.
Wait. Week 0 is this weekend?
Yeah, this week. Yeah.
Let's go.
We got college game day on Saturday.
College game day. We get to wake up with a coffee and Kirk Herbstreit and Pat McAfee and Nick Saban, the whole crew.
I thought we had one more week. Wait, next week's a Labor Day?
No, that's 2 weeks. This is just like that Ireland game, and then a couple of smaller.
Yeah, games. I mean next week, not this weekend.
Yeah,
next weekend's Labor Day. I guess so.
Not this week, but the week after.
Michael, keep looking at me Monday. Confused and run those words through your
currently Monday.
Your brain.
We have 13 days until
there we go.
Labor Day Sunday.
Oh well, yeah. Then I'm all screwed up. Week 0 doesn't make any sense, but here we are. I'm excited.
Montana State at New Mexico. If you want to watch an FCS team, that game's on FS1 at 3:00, and then
New Mexico's low-key about to get worked.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough. But no, Montana State is a 10.5-point favorite at New Mexico. So.
Oh my! A 10.5-point favorite?
Yeah. Yeah. North Alabama plays SEMO, so you do have a local FCS game on Saturday. So yeah, we're almost there.
Interesting. Well, that's exciting. I love a little week 0. That Ireland game, though, last year was Northwestern Notre Dame. That one did not live up to the billing. And Notre Dame totally faked us out. They made us all think that Sam Hartman was the truth and that all of a sudden they had found a passing attack and an offense in South Bend. No, just Northwestern happened to be one of the worst teams they've had in a very, very long time of very, very bad football. So
that's when we found about Sam Hartman and his hair and how good he looked in the long hair, Why everybody fell in love with Sam Hartman that weekend.
Yeah, now he's in Birmingham. Oh, he was in Birmingham. Is he?
He's in camp with the Commanders, the Washington football team.
That's right. I saw that the other day.
Yeah, then if he doesn't make it, he'll be with the Stallions next spring. So
very interesting. Sam Hartman. All right, so boys, Samford's defense. So they just had their second scrimmage this past Friday. Are they still in camp, Grant, or is camp done?
Camp would probably finish this week, and then you go into game prep next Monday. So I'm sure camp will end this week around like Thursday or Friday. Maybe one more scrimmage before that. Maybe we'll see. It depends on how many guys may be nicked up or injured. But I'm sure they'll have another scrimmage this week, I want to say.
And school started, right? All my siblings went back to college today. So
I'm still confused because remember
it starts really late.
Yeah, that's right. We used to, but now we don't have Jan term anymore, so you start a little bit earlier. So
that's right.
So,
granted, I love how you're our de facto back guy.
Yeah, that's a great
Sam
question.
and I love to date ourselves.
Yeah.
Grant's not too far behind us. That's the funny thing. He's like,
I'm just 2 years. Classes begin next Monday, the 26th.
That's pretty sweet. Because my brother, he's back. Sister's back. My other brother's in seminary. That doesn't count. That's grad school. So they have a different schedule altogether. But 26, that's amazing. So the guys are still on campus alone. I guess there are other athletes. We had the Samford women's soccer season begin. We're 1-1.
Yeah, 1-1 with a game coming up this Thursday, a home game against UAB. So a little fun there after playing Notre Dame this past yesterday.
What's our goal differential right now?
Negative.
That's
teeth kicked in.
That's rude. That was the floodgates definitely opened the second half, but being only down 1-0 in the first and losing 6-0. That's a good question. +2. We are -4 in goal differential right now. So
yeah, a little bit of a tease there with the 1-0 halftime.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
tried to log in to watch the second half, and it said weather delay, and so I transitioned to something else. By the time I came back, it was 4-0, and then I sat there for 5 minutes, and it was 6-0 the time the game ended.
Yeah.
It's about right.
Yeah, it was tough. I told Sam before we started recording that Notre Dame lost their season opener a couple of days ago, so maybe they're playing a little bit angry and wanted to come back and score all those goals.
They lost to Michigan State, like another big school.
Yeah, they did. Yes. So Samford Soccer's got UAB on Thursday and then Troy on Sunday at home too. So 2 games this week.
It'll be interesting. So the good bellwether is kind of these quote unquote mid majors. I don't know idea what a mid major is or major is in soccer, but some of these bigger schools, because I mean sometimes we do win against a Power 5 opponent or Power 4 opponent.
P4, yeah.
But that doesn't always mean we have a good season. I mean, last year we beat, was it Bama or Auburn? We split that, right? We lost to Auburn or Bama and then beat one or the other.
Yeah,
Did we lose to Auburn or tie Auburn?
We tied Auburn. We tied Ole Miss and tied Alabama, and then beat Oklahoma 4-0. So they had a stretch there where
and Alabama was like 5th in the country when we played them, I think.
Yeah, that's right. And that Samford team didn't even win the SoCon. So you just never know what the season might have in store. Hopefully the youth of this team will grow up and then get a little bit of revenge and win back the SoCon. We'll see.
Yeah, only returned 4 starters from a season ago. So yeah, a lot of new faces, a lot of young faces, especially for this program. The last few years, remember, we had like the same 8 to 12 girls that played 5 years because of the COVID year, so had the same team for quite a while. So this is a brand new team for the most part this year.
I'll tell you who does not have a lot of young faces. That's the Samford defense. Nice. We've been talking about it all. Thank you. We've been talking about it all 3 weeks and a little bit in the spring. But one of the things we're holding on to the most heading into this season, as far as setting our expectations, is the veteran-laden defense. And that's not only from a returner standpoint, but also from a transfer standpoint. On offense, we probably will have true sophomores, maybe some true juniors having some pretty big impacts. But as far as the defense goes, even the transfers we got are a lot of grad transfers and seniors. So let's kind of run through it first, and then we'll talk about each group. So we split it up. We're going to start with the returners, the names we're all familiar with. And Grant, do you have a list, or we can probably just run this one by memory? We also have the glorious Samford fact book.
Yeah, I can run through them, and on our website, I will have the defense preview up probably later this week. So after this drops, it'll be up later this week if you want to go look at that. The offense preview is already up on the website if you want to go check that out. But for the defense, it all starts with Noah Martin, right? He's got literally every preseason accolades. Starting off first team, Noah Martin linebacker. Mm-hmm. Jaden Mosley also back in that linebacker room, a junior actually Rise.
Yeah, he'll be a junior.
Yeah, true junior, so you got him coming back. Then you got some other guys in the secondary, like Midnight Stewart at safeties coming back. And then you got some other pieces coming along. And then we'll get into the defensive line, too. They added some new guys there, too, with a couple returners. So they do have an older crop.
It's such a good name. Junior from Daphne, Alabama. He's listed at 6'1", 202. Midnight Stewart.
Yep. Yeah, so going to the D-line, we got Makai Gilbert back. He was preseason also. He was on the all-freshman team last year, Makai Gilbert coming back. Then you got Josh Mathiasen at D-tackle. You've got some other guys there that do have experience, that have played a lot of football. And then you added some new pieces too, which we'll get into in a minute. But those are the main pieces coming back from a defense a year ago.
Yeah, Jamal Thompson, I was looking through this list, and he played in pretty much every single game. The defensive line is returning a lot of guys kind of like that might have rotated in, but didn't necessarily make a huge impact. That they'll obviously be expected. Guy like Xavier Nurse, who's going to be a graduate, going in his graduate year this year. I saw the name JP Oliver, no action, but he is a returner. He's 6'2", 260, a little bit undersized. but he's going to be a junior. And this is kind of one of those things, right? Like in the FCS, especially so, waning in the FBS, but the junior year, it's kind of when your homegrown talent appears. And so some of these guys, we might not, might be newcomers, right? But they are returners, but they're going to seem like newcomers because we don't know who they are. They didn't make any real contributions, but this is the year, the junior year, where we're going to see someone pop up, right? Like I don't have this list, Grant. I probably should have made this list, but seeing JP Oliver just kind of sparked that of there's going to be a guy that's been on this roster for a few years that's been developing that's going to pop.
Yeah. Yeah, you do have defensive tackle Jamal Thompson, number 81, started 5 games last year. He's also a junior. Maxton Woodard, 6'2", 336. The biggest guy on this Samford D-line is coming back to another true junior. So you do have some guys that have been playing summer. Actually, Woodard came over from Holmes Community College, but still he's been in the program for a year at least. So
Nick Jackson going into his graduate year. I mean, he played in 10 games in 21, 13 in 22, 6 games last year. There was some injury there.
Yeah.
Johnny Johnson, we've mentioned him a few times on the podcast, but he's like the example of someone you expect to produce a whole lot more going to his final year. Someone who's flashed, but it has not necessarily been as consistent as you want. But kind of just looking at these names of the returners outside of our Noah Martin, outside of our Mosley, outside of our Mathiasen, who is somebody who's somebody that y'all think might make an impact after another year of development?
It could be Cameron Smith, the corner. He transferred over from Charleston Southern last year, 6 feet, 195, returning in that DB room that Samford has constantly turned over the last few years, had 14 tackles along with 3 PBUs. So he's at least started a game and does have some experience. He's been in the program a year too, which is a big plus there. So he's somebody in the secondary in a group that's seen a lot of new faces come and go that could flash in the secondary.
I hope it's somebody in the secondary. I like that line of thinking, Grant, because there's talent there, right? Like you had guys last year, Cameron Smith, Dante Pollard. Dante Pollard, I remember he had come from Akron, and we were pretty excited about his transfer last year. I think it was last year. But the DBs never really seemed to gel. It never really came together, even though it looks like we have athletes, and yeah, they would make a play here and there. It just seemed jumbled. So I like where your head's at, Grant. Let's hope that it's a DB, a returning DB. If it's a transfer, it's a transfer, but a returning DB. Yeah. Mike, what are you thinking?
I'm going to say what Grant said. I feel like last year we had a bunch of transfers come in from high-level programs, some FBS transfers, some high-level FCS transfers in the secondary, and I just kind of felt like it was disappointing. So hopefully to see some of those guys that were able to stay, develop, and then some new guys come in. Also, Coach Scales, he's new cornerback coach who was the defensive coordinator at Western last year. Is that right?
Yep.
So interesting transition there. But Western pretty decent in the secondary, ranked towards the top of the SoCon the last couple seasons. So hopefully he's got some good juju coming in, can help the team.
Yeah, we did add a lot of guys too. We added 13, I counted the other day, 13 total transfers on the D-line and secondary, which we'll get into in a little bit to mix in with some of the new guys. We also need to mention that Noah Martin is going to wear the number 5 jersey this year. He won the Charles Williams Memorial jersey, so he will be wearing the number 5. So that's why if you see that out there, he switched to that from his usual 32 last year, so he got that honor too, along with all his other accolades he's received.
That's cool. That's a surprising number. I would like to know how many of those are on the DB side, Grant, because it seems like we got a lot of D linemen returning. I know that we've mentioned a few of the transfers we're excited about, but we have a lot of old D linemen. I mean, just kind of looking other than Mathiasen and Nick Jackson, Johnny Johnson, I just mentioned, but Xavier Nurse, and there's someone else, Jamal Thompson. It's interesting that they felt the need to bring in that many. And you said those are D-line transfers, not incoming freshmen?
I believe, yes. D-line and secondary combined. Yeah, 13 total.
That's interesting. I mean, the secondary definitely needed to shake up. We lost a few dudes, but like we said, the guys that are coming back, we're hoping they step up, but frankly, they better step up. I just cannot stop thinking about that UTC game where they kind of got their revenge from 2 years ago on us. But it felt like every other play we were just getting burned. And that was in the latter half of the season when you expect your defense to have really come together at that point. But it just never did. So is this wishful thinking? Like, are we sitting here hoping that these guys who are coming back, we're kind of harping on the DBs because that was the weakest link from our eyes. But the defense does play as a unit. We do need to be fair. DBs always look good when the D-line's playing well. But is it wishful thinking? Is this too much homerism that we're like, oh yeah, they're gonna be good this year because of development? ?
Development with a new defensive coordinator, a new DB's coach coming in. Maybe not the best recipe, but at least you'd rather have old guys with a new DC rather than a bunch of young guys and a new DC coming in. So at least you got some guys coming back. But yeah,
that's
17 minutes in, we're already asking if we're two homers. That's not good. That's not a good sign. But
just about the DBs.
The DBs, we did add some new guys, which we'll get into a little bit. Like I want to say 3 corners and maybe 3 or 4 safeties that we added too. So we got some of those guys that do have playing experience at other stops, which may help bring along kind of younger guys in that DB room too.
And this is, go ahead, Mike.
Well, I was just looking at, guess how many interceptions we had last year?
What was the?
I will say that Furman had the most at 18.
Okay, I bet we had 7.
Right on the nose, 7.
Boom.
Only teams behind us was Citadel and VMI. So
that's not good.
So I know there are a lot more stats that matter, but
it's a good stat.
35. That's towards the lower end.
Could we stop recording and run this back? Or could we start over? Be like, no, we need to fix what we said the last 5 minutes. But
no, that's look. It's a continuous conversation, Grant.
That and how much does playing be more multiple on the front instead of going from 3-man to maybe 4-man? How much does that help secondary not be on islands as much? But because if obviously more time the QB has, the D line's not getting to him, you're going to have so much longer to cover and hold and maybe give up some of those big plays that they gave up last year.
Well, frankly, I think it's going to help tremendously just from the standpoint of where are we deepest? D-line. So we're going to be able to play more of our best players on a regular basis. If you only have 3 corners, right, but you got a 4-man front, that's ideal. When you're only playing 3-man front and we have 2 or 3 good linebackers, 2 or 3 average ones, and then two average corners, all of a sudden the math starts to tilt against you, and you're putting guys out there who are not necessarily as equipped to take advantage of the scheme as you would want. So 4-man front, just from the standpoint of, I think we're deepest at D-line, should bode well overall for the defense. Doesn't mean we're going to be good. I mean, at the end of the day, talent matters the most.
Yeah.
And if we didn't hit on some of the key transfers, and if our DBs didn't get better, and if our linebackers don't stay healthy, then we're toast.
Here's another stat. How many sacks did we have last year? Furman led the way with 38.
We had not enough. We had 20 sacks, 18 sacks.
18.
16. We had 16 sacks.
Guys.
Oh.
Citadel had 9. VMI and Samford had 16. So tied for 8th when it comes to sacks. And then tackles for loss, we were near the bottom 2. We were tied for 6th in tackles for loss as well.
Yeah. Yeah, the reality is kind of slapping us in the face.
Yeah, so this is where we're
not good.
Whoa, that's all games. So if you filter down to just conference games, Samford only had 3 interceptions and 13 sacks.
And 34 tackles for loss, which was good for 8th in the conference.
Why do we have a new defensive coordinator again?
Because he left. No.
Yeah, stats matter.
Yeah. Speaking of this new system,
absurd.
Yeah, which is why the change to more of an attacking style defense, like Coach Hatcher uses that word a lot when it comes to defense and attacking. Coach Braithwaite talked about that too, like what attacking means to him, and I can play that for you here in a second.
Let's play it.
Yeah, I mean, I do think we are attacking. Okay, now to me, attacking doesn't necessarily mean what calls you're making and that you're dialing up, 50 billion different blitzes. I think it's more about the style of play. And that's what I'm trying to impress upon our guys. It's more about how we play the game that makes us attacking as opposed to what scheme I'm calling there. Our defensive philosophy is play hard, be smart, fundamentals. So we're trying to just preach that and instill those things in our guys every day. There's no perfect defensive scheme. There's no perfect defensive call. Otherwise, everybody else would be doing the same things. So really, we're just trying to focus on playing hard, playing with a hard edge, being physical, giving fanatical effort, executing what we're trying to get done, be a smart, disciplined defense, play with great fundamentals. And like I said, to me, the attacking part of that is more about how we play and the mentality we play with than the actual scheme that we're playing with.
I think there's a coach's dictionary that they don't hand out to normal people. Fanatical fundamentals. Did I hear that right? Isn't that an oxymoron? Fanatical fundamentals? Or is that
No, that's different. Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I don't know, Sam. Those are big words, so that's above me.
English lessons over.
We did graduate from Samford. We do know some big words.
With a finance degree on my end.
Finance.
That's what they say. That's what they say. Finance.
That's what some people say.
If you studied finance, you call it finance. If you studied management, you call it finance.
That's right, because I work in the real world. Continue, Michael.
Anyways, who said that we have an attacking defense? Coach said that, or
yes?
No, Coach Hatcher was saying that's what this version, this scheme. That's what they want this to look like compared to what we saw last year.
So Coach Hatcher said that, but then Coach Braithwaite.
It was the same press conference, so they were like feeding off each other. Like Hatcher goes, "We're gonna have an attack. Our new brand is an attacking style defense," and then
I'm just saying
had to unpack that.
Hatcher says it's going to be an attacking defense. Braithwaite basically says, well, not in the schemes that we draw up, just in the mentality.
Yeah, because we can't blitz every play. It means we
I know,
can't
but
blitz
like
every play.
He basically
do it in EA all the time.
He just defined attacking defense as playing ruthless football, which is like you should do that all the time.
I get what he's saying. Only when you put it up against the product that they put out last year and frankly the year before, where it's not. I'm not going to call it soft. We had big hits, but at no point did I think we played as hard as a VMI. Right? Rocco has those dudes rolling to the ball or flying to the ball.
All right, we'll see.
Maybe we had some fire against Shorter.
I don't know. We gave up a couple big plays on that one. I remember. Yeah.
We intercepted Peyton Thornton in the end zone. Everybody else did that, but we did that.
That's
too.
the unfortunate flip side to playing aggressive is you do tend to give up more big plays. But honestly, we gave them up so much last year. What is there to lose? So it'll be. I think, Mike. I think you may be reading too much into the actual words the coach said. I don't know if he knew what he was saying when he was up there.
Starting to sound like Wofford's used car salesman over there.
No.
I know he's got a good track record. He's got a good track record. We got to give him time.
Yeah, and his voice is great.
Yeah. Well, off that, I was going to get in. Great transition. I was going to get into his track record a little bit. He came over from Tennessee Tech last year. At one season, Tennessee Tech, they led the Big South OVC in total defense, ranked 4th in scoring defense, 3rd in rush defense, and then they finished the season with 8 straight games, allowing 100 rushing yards or fewer in regulation. This is what could bode well for Samford as they finished 7th in rushing defense last year. But again, like early in the system at Tennessee Tech, where it's not the best job, it's kind of hard to find players fit your scheme, and they still went 4-7 or whatever, but they still had a solid defense. And see if there's, with better talent here at Samford, maybe they can build it up and get kind of to where he was previously, because he's worked at Chattanooga earlier in this year from 2012 to 2016. The Chattanooga was one of the top defenses SoCon. In 2014, they ranked 4th in the FCS with under 300 yards per game, which is the lowest average for a Chat defense since 1983. So there is some good things in his track record that could transfer over to what maybe we see for Samford this fall.
You know what the most helpful thing to a defense is?
Good players, turnovers.
Playing a bad offense. And you know who's not going to have a conference chock full of loaded offenses this season? The SoCon.
Big South. Oh.
The Big South, Grant, get out of here.
Yeah.
No, the SoCon. I mean, we talked about it last week. Outside of UTC and Western,
yeah.
we all, well, I don't know if we all, but at least 2 of us landed on ETSU having the best quarterback situation. We don't know about Samford, that caveat there. But outside of that, I mean, I'm not sure the offenses are going to be flying like they might have the last couple of years, especially if Mercer doesn't do their usual. I mean, with Ty James and Devron Harper, it was almost impossible not to put up yards and points, but they don't have those guys this year, like we talked about. So that's one thing. I don't want us to be fooled if all of a sudden Samford's defense is top 3 this season, because one, we return a defense full of veterans on the front and second level. But if the offenses do what?
Top 3?
Well, no, what I'm saying is if that is like that, let's not get excited because it might not be as impressive as it sounds. Just saying with how the conference is shaping up to look like offensively. It looks like the defenses may reign supreme in the 3 through 7 or 3 through 6 ranks. And so being third might only be third by like half a point a game because it's going to be so just crowded, kind of in that midfield statistically, is what I'm thinking right now.
I don't know what we've ranked the last few years, but if we've got a top 3 defense, we need to win the league every year.
No, but that's my whole point, Mike, is we might end up with a top 3 defense or top 4, whatever. But it's not going to mean anything because it's not UTC's defense, which is going to be number 1. Mercer's might be number 2.
Mercer's going to have a good defense.
And after that, it's going to be a different year for sure. It's going to be a different year. And all I'm saying is we just don't need to get too excited if our defense looks like it turned a corner. Because guess what? More than half of this defense is gone next year. The whole roster has 45 seniors/graduates. And a lot of that's on the defensive side of the ball. So
this is the year?
It's the year it's the best year Braithwaite could have asked for coming in as a first-year DC. I will say that.
Yeah.
It's a very good situation for him.
I think one of my concerns is that, and we'll talk about offense next week, but we're losing Hires, who's one of the most efficient quarterbacks that we've ever seen. We're losing a lot of talent in the receiving core and our running backs. So I think last year the problem was that our offense had to be close to perfect or else the defense couldn't keep up.
It was tough.
So when we're going to lose some efficiency on the offensive end, I assume. So the defense is just going to have to play that much better.
Yeah.
So that's my big concern.
Yeah, because remember in 2022, the offense was basically perfect. In 22, everything went right, and the defense, like they would still go up 35 to 40 points a game. You know that we were putting up 50 no matter what. It wasn't the case last year due to bad line play and Hire suffering that injury early. He wasn't the same, so there's a little bit of that going on. So yeah, the defense will have to step up a level. As I want to say, Samford's projected to start the year like 43rd or something in SP plus on offense. So it's kind of right there in the middle of the pack. So the defense will have to step up their game for sure.
But that was a given, right?
Yeah.
Like we always knew the defense. We can't be. We're not going where we want to go with the defense that we had last year. And if that's what we have this year, well, yeah, Mike, we're toast. We're like 4th, 5th in the conference, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about that. All right, let's talk about all the shiny new toys. Let's talk about the Samford defensive newcomers. we talked about this guy when he signed back in the winter, but Nazir Sai is a guy that I'm very excited about on the defensive line. The dude he kind of just has that look, right? He's big, he's athletic, and everything that we've heard from the players is he has all the potential. So a guy like Nazir should be a lot of fun to watch. You never know; these are young athletes. But he was one guy that I am especially excited for. But Grant, let's not steal everybody's thunder. Let's roll through some of the new guys.
Yeah, let's go. I'll bring up the secondary again. One guy that I really like transferred in from Northern Iowa, Edwin Dearman, a grad transfer, 5'11", 200-pound safety. Spent 5 years in Northern Iowa. Tallied 125 career tackles with 69 solos. His last year in 2023, he had 58 total tackles, 2 TFLs, and 2 picks in 23. So a guy that's obviously played a lot of football, even more experience to add, and along with those linebackers that come back and bring a lot of experience. Okay. Another guy, mainly just on pure vibes alone, Gumbo Gaskin, 6'1", 190 from Vanderbilt. Yes, his nickname is Gumbo. His given name is Quintavis, which is pretty sick too. So yeah, 6'1", 190, transferred from Vandy. He did play a little bit of Vandy. He played in 5 games last year, so he's a guy purely just because of his name. I want to see get some big snaps. Then another guy,
he's a sophomore.
Yeah, sophomore.
I like the freshman transfers because there just is inherently more promise. But continue, Grant.
And another guy that's played a lot of football, corner Seth Parker from Columbia, 5'10", 175. Another grad transfer, spent 4 years at Columbia. Started 20 games over his career, collected 88 career tackles and 67 solos, had a pick and a few PBUs last year. They're over his career, so he's another guy with a lot of experience, played a lot of football. And then one more I want to bring up is safety Andrew Johnson, 5'10", 187 from Copiah Lincoln Community College, another transfer, a junior. He's also got some good experience there too. Had 38 tackles last year and a couple of PBUs as a sophomore, and also played as a freshman in community college in Mississippi. So those are a few guys that have my eye on, leading off with Dearman from Northern Iowa, who I really like. Played a lot of football.
I like that. Northern Iowa. Do we know anything about Conroy Cunningham, the second? 6'3", 235, grad transfer DN from Bethune-Cookman. I mean, the grad transfers, you got to think the staff had their eyes on them as immediate impact guys. Because honestly, if they don't, I'm not sure why they would just bring him in for one season.
Yeah.
So that's somebody who may make an impact. As we said, the D-line is pretty deep. But as a grad transfer, you got to think the logic there is the kid's going to play. Kind of like your Dearman guy, Grant, like grad transfer, coming in. Honestly, the safety room is a little bit interesting because we have CJ Douglas, who played in the last game of the season. We fell in love with him, or maybe the last 2 games of the season. Outside of that, there's a lot to prove. It would be ideal if by midseason CJ Douglas is starting, and then the other safety is one of these grad guys, because you would love to have some kind of senior leadership at the very top of the defense, along with a guy that's just going to continue to develop and hopefully not transfer in CJ Douglas. So that is going to be an interesting place to watch. I'm not sure if there's another position group like that. We just didn't have any young dudes or that young flash quite like CJ did. But we'll see. The safety is going to be an interesting position to watch. Another grad transfer, another Ivy Leaguer. We're hit or miss with the Ivy Leaguers, but Jalen Rainey, D lineman from Dartmouth. Y'all know my thoughts. Ivy League, from Ivy League, they don't necessarily have the best football players, but occasionally you'll get a good one. I like that he's from Memphis. He's Southern, but outside of that, who knows?
Luke Wattenberger, a junior transfer from Bakersfield College out in California, another guy they add in the DB room. Then a walk-on from Ole Miss who is on, if you go to Birmingham Sports on Twitter, you put out like the all-name team for like some of Samford's cool names. Gumbo Gaskins was on there. And then this guy transferred over from Ole Miss. I believe he's a walk-on at Ole Miss. Trustin Northington is his full name, which is pretty sick. That's kind of cool too. 6'1", 190 from Ole Miss. Yeah. Trusting Northern Midnight Stewards on the list too. Damn, we got a lot of great names on this roster.
We have so many good names.
Yeah.
It is a great names roster. Here's another name. We didn't mention him, but he's huge. Maxton Woodward. He's going to be another D lineman cycling in 6'2", 336, hailing from Philadelphia, Mississippi, home of Marcus Dupree, the greatest that ever was. But yeah, another D lineman. I mean, guys, the D line is so deep. I just hope they're good. Like, we know Josh is good. We know Johnny's good. But, like, if we have 5 guys who can all realistically pressure the quarterback or maintain their gap for the run, if we got 5 guys who could do that, watch out. Because all of a sudden, that will mask any kind of deficiency that we might still have in the secondary. Because it really is, I mean, the coaches are just, it's coin flips back there on the transfers. They're just hoping and praying that whoever they bring in, that one of those DBs is going to be good. And they got lucky that 2 or 3 years ago when they brought in that transfer class who was really good in 22, even though our defense as a whole wasn't that great. Our secondary was good because we had 3 guys all flirt with the NFL. Now, they might have only been flirting in their head, but it seemed like for a while they had legitimate chances to get looks, and that's really all we need. You know, we don't even need a James Bradbury back there to get back to where we want to get. If we do, then maybe we do beat North Dakota State. But it's not – I don't know, guys. We're in Alabama.
One more guy we need to mention, Xavier Lanier, another corner transfer from Tulsa, 6'2", 192, started 5 games for the Golden Hurricane last year too, so – another guy with some playing experience. Yeah, they've added a ton again in the secondary room, as we keep mentioning. It's just a matter of how well they click and which guys kind of fill those roles that are left from previous years.
Yep, it's just rolling the die. Okay, we're not rambling, but we're not rambling. So give us, guys, one guy kind of similar to the newcomers. One guy or returners. Give us one newcomer. Now that we've run through the list, and it can be the same guys we just said, but one guy you're excited to watch.
Sam, I think I'm going to stick with Conroy Cunningham. I like it. From Bethune-Cookman. I mean, 7 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks last year. It's not terrible.
He would have almost beaten the entire Samford team in SoCon stats right there. So.
Exactly. Love a good DN. Conroy Cunningham the second. It's a pretty powerful
Great name. It's a great name. CC2,
like we've been giving
baby.
Too much love to secondary, so let's go with the good old DN.
Oh, love is a strong word, Mike, but Grant, continue.
It must be nice. I'm going back to the secondary. Edwin Dearman, who I mentioned off the tops, 5'11", 200. 5 years of playing a 6-year football. Played in 54 games. I've already gone through all of his stats. 125 career tackles. 5'11", 200. Good size there with the weight at safety. A guy to come downhill and make some tackles and play some in coverage. So that's one guy I kind of like coming into the year.
Nice. I'm rolling with Nazir. He was a guy that I was excited to see right when he signed. Hasn't changed, and especially after talking with Josh this summer, the D-line has all the potential in the world. We shall see. But I like those picks. We got to be looking out for Conroy Cunningham II. It is such a good name. All right, last question, boys.
Name right there.
All American name right there.
We got like 5 or 6 of those. We keep saying it, but yeah, there's
so
just go to the roster online and just go look at
the
different guys.
Gumbo takes the cake.
Quintavis Gumbo Gaskins.
That's
this incredible name. Yeah.
All right, last question, boys. What are y'all looking forward to the most from this new defense?
It's kind of a loaded question because we
haven't seen it.
Yeah.
A little less bend.
There we go.
A little less bend. I'm tired of the bend don't break mentality.
Yes, there we go. Thank you.
Which I know is just in an air raid offense. That's just how you play defense. But last year there's a whole lot of bend and a little less break, but still too much break.
A whole lot of break.
let's go hit some people. Let's go make some content. Let's go do some things. Yeah.
I mean, guys, can y'all just let's just sit back and imagine. Okay, I was watching a few clips from last season. Just sit back and imagine when the ball is snapped, and let's on the 25-yard line. And now let's imagine the defensive line and linebackers not all getting blocked back to the 28-yard line. That's what I'm looking forward to. Grant, what about you?
A great demonstration there. I like that. How we're gonna keep saying it, but like how quote attacking is this defense? Like what kind of blitzes did the job? I know Coach mentioned like the blitzing and attacking. That's not exactly what he means, but exactly like how are we getting to the quarterback? How are we generating more pressure, which is something that teams have done in Coach Braithwaite's system. How do we generate more pressure with those kind of 4-man fronts? Bring some linebackers, bring some safeties down, and kind of be more. I'm trying to find a better word for attacking because we keep using that word, but more not like the mentality like Mike said, keeping everything in front, just making sure, okay, let's wait till we get inside the 20. It's like, okay, we got to play defense now. None of that. Let's actually get there and be more aggressive on the ball rather than sitting back and waiting until we actually have to bow up and get aggressive. So that's what I want to look for.
I just can't believe a school that has produced a Michael Pierce, a James Bradbury, a Jaquaski Tart is known for its offense. Like, yes, I love the hatch attack. You know, we love Duck. We love Mike. But you cannot tell me that there is not a sleeping giant on defense in Homewood, Alabama. I ain't saying it's being awoken this year, but something needs to give and something needs to happen. Because if the defense doesn't look any better, I mean, at a certain point, you can filter in all the defensive coordinators you want, but Hatcher probably needs to take a more holistic approach to the team. If a defense with this much senior leadership and a quote-unquote experienced D coordinator with a proven success or track record, if it doesn't happen with an offense, with a conference where it looks like the offenses are going to take a step back, then something just needs to be reevaluated. Hatcher needs to reevaluate everything from that standpoint because the ingredients are there for a good defense this season, statistically and actually. All right, guys. Anything else? We'll talk about the offense next week, and then it'll be football eve. Yeah. It's already kind of football eve, as y'all told me, which is awesome. But anything else before we wrap it up?
Wednesday night, the school's doing the Bulldog Bash from August 21st, 6 to 8 on Wednesday at Odie's in Edgewood. You can go meet members of the Samford football, soccer, volleyball, and cross-country teams. Okay. You can win prizes. You also have a chance to win a pair of Samford football season tickets. So if you go down, I'll be down there with a few people if you want to go find me too. And then, I get a chance to win some season tickets at Edgewood Wednesday night at 6. So
I like that. Yep. The Bulldog Bash is what you said, Grant?
Bash, yep.
Bulldog Bash. Is that the same place they did the March Madness selection show?
Yep, exactly. Same spot, same corner there in Edgewood, right there at the corner of the street there, yeah.
Yep. That's a great spot. We should have hit up Odie's a little bit more in college.
I don't think I've ever been there.
I've only been twice. It's a good spot.
What is it?
Like a bar, sports bar. All right. Anyway, State of the Bulldogs is out. We will catch you all next week.